Hi, kindergarten friends. I have a wonderful week of writing planned for you. Does anyone see my poster that I've made? Can you see that? What do you think this poster might be? What do you think this character down here in the bottom could be? I want you to think about that. Then it's got some words at the top. I want you to think about that for a second. We're going to be using this chart after we get finished reading our story. But I have the best story to read to you today, and then that's going to help us with our ideas for writing this week. So, here's my story. It's called I Need My Monster. Now, I think that's kind of a funny title because, a lot of people, when you're in bed, sometimes you get scared, or if you've ever watched the movie Monsters Inc., and you remember how they were afraid of the monsters and how the monsters would come into the little kids' rooms. But remember, that's all play like. But anyway, let's get started with our story. It's I Need My Monster. It's written by Amanda Knoll and illustrated by Howard McWilliam. I'm going to bring the book closer because I want you to have a chance to really see. Can you see what she's doing? Yeah, she's hanging over the side of her bed and she's looking up underneath her bed, right? And then on the back, there's not a lot on it except one over here, one kind of teeny tiny monster. Okay, let's get started. I need my monster. Today, what I want you to listen for is I want you to listen to all the words that they use to describe a monster. Okay? A word that describes a monster, because a monster is a noun. Remember, nouns are person, place, things, or animals. Well, a monster would be classified as a thing. And then we've talked about adjectives, and those are the words that describe the noun and really give you all those great details that help you while you're reading to be able to visualize and make the mind movies. So I want you to listen to how they describe the monster. Okay? I need my monster. I'm going to read it and then I'll turn and show the pages. Tonight, when I looked under the bed for my monster, I found this note instead. Gone fishing, back in a week. Gabe. What was I going to do? I needed a monster under my bed. How was I supposed to get to sleep if my monster was gone? I want you to really look. You see the note? And then do you see? She's not real excited about this, is she? She says, I need that monster. Or he says that. I'm sorry. Because up here, if you look at the details, it says Ethan's room. And then it looks like he's drawn a picture of his monster. Okay. I tried to sleep, but it wasn't the same without Gabe. I missed his ragged breathing, the scrabbling of his uncut claws. How would I ever get to sleep without Gabe's familiar scary noises and his spooky green ooze? It was no use. Gabe would be gone for a week, and I just had to have a monster. I climbed quietly out of bed so my parents wouldn't hear me. Grown-ups have some strange ideas about monsters under beds. I knocked on the floorboards, then scrambled back under my covers, and I waited nervously. Would a new monster appear? What would he be like? Would his snorting be as cheerful as Gabe's? Now, on this page, there were some really great words that were describing his breathing and his claws and the ooze that comes from the monster. And here he is knocking on the floorboard, seeing if he can find a monster. Okay? When I heard some creaking under my bed, I knew that the substitute monster had arrived. "Good evening," with a low, breathy voice. "My name is Herbert, and I will be your monster for the evening." Herbert? Well, what kind of name is that for a monster? You don't sound scary at all. Have you ever scared a kid before? Well, no, but I have read all the best books on the topic. "Do you have long teeth and scratchy claws?" I asked. "No, but I have an overbite, and I'm a mouth breather. Listen." Herbert's pouting was kind of scary, but it wasn't enough for me. You see? Trying to get it where you can see. And right under the bed, right here, you see a little monster, okay? And I heard some more good descriptive words about that monster in this story. Okay, listen, Herbert, I'm sorry, but I just don't think this is going to work. It's nothing personal, but I really need a monster with claws. "Picky, picky," Herbert complained. "Well, as you wish. I'll go." There was some more creaking, and Herbert was gone. Look at him. Some scratching warned me that a second monster had appeared. "Good evening," he said. Oh, in a high, silky voice. "My name is Ralph. I understand you need a monster with claws. If you would please lean over, I will hold out an arm for inspection." I crouched on the edge of the bed, hoping to see a horrible, shaggy arm with sharp, rugged nails. Good description of the nails. Sharp and rugged. Instead, I was surprised to see sleeky, brushed fur with smooth, shiny claws. "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude," I asked, "but is that nail polish on your claws?" "Well, yes, it is," Ralph replied. "I believe professional monsters should always be well groomed." I could tell that this wasn't going to work either. "Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Ralph, but I need a monster with scary claws." Like Gabe's, I thought. I heard some more scratching, and I knew Ralph was gone. A minute later, a third voice from under the beds rasped, "Check out these claws, kid." I gathered my courage and peered over the edge. The claws were impressive, jagged and dark and razor sharp. Well, so far, so good. I was a little nervous. "Could you stick out your tail?" I whispered. "Sure, but don't get scared." Oh my, look at his claws. And did you hear they were described as jagged? That means the edges kind of go up and down like that. It's not a smooth cut. And they're dark and razor sharp. Lots of good descriptive words. I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of my bed. That's when I noticed the bow. "Are you a girl monster?" "Of course I am," she snapped. "I'm Cynthia. Do you have a problem with that?" "Well, yeah, I do," I admitted. "I definitely need a boy monster. Boy monsters are for boys, and girl monsters are for girls. Everybody knows that." "Well, aren't you the picky one?" she sniffed. And then she was gone. Oh, think of all the adjectives you could use to describe her. You could start off with her color. You could start off with the spots. You could talk about She has some bumpity bumps on her. You could talk about her horns, her eyelashes, her teeth. All of those words that you could describe her would be your adjectives. Was I being too picky? No. I knew that my monster needed to be well clawed and menacing. The whole point of having a monster, after all, was to keep me in bed, imagining all the scary stuff that could happen if I got out. Now, I think that's an interesting way that he thinks about why he needs a monster. He said the monster is what keeps him in bed. I don't think I've ever really thought of it like that. Then I heard a shuffling noise and some slobbering. A fourth monster was under my bed. Hey, the name's Mac. One look at his claws proved that Mac was a big, scruffy, boy monster. I shivered. Maybe this one would work out. Those are excellent claws, but do you have a long tail? I leaned over to see. No, my tail's a stump, Mac slurped, but I do have unusually long tongue. Why would I be afraid of a long tongue? I asked. Oh, I don't know, he said, trying to sound terrifying. You never know when I might lick you. I fell back on the bed, laughing. Can you see? You see his long tongue? But that didn't scare him a bit, did it? He was just laughing about it. Well, if you're not even going to try to work with me, Mac whined. I held in my giggles. I really don't think you should send me away, he warned. Kids who reject 5 monsters in one night. I did not reject 5 monsters tonight, I interrupted. My regular monster went fishing. Fishing, eh? Maybe he just left because you're so picky. Fine, I'm out of here, but I wouldn't expect another monster tonight if I were you. Well, how was I ever going to get to sleep without my monster? Look at that monster. You think of all the ways you could describe him? Can you see? Yeah, I think you could describe that one. Lots of great adjectives for that monster. I was surprised to hear some more creaking under the bed. Loud creaking with scratching. I thought no more monsters were going to appear tonight, I said. Sorry I'm late, kid. Whew. It was Gabe. I thought I would enjoy fishing, but I didn't, he explained. Those fish scared too easily. No challenge at all. You, however, are challenging, my friend. You're almost too old to be afraid of monsters. You keep me on my toes. Ah, toes, a delicious snack. The bed quivered as Gabe's stomach rumbled with hunger. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start the evening with an ominous puddle of drool. I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath. You see that green ooze right in here? See? Then the bed trembled as Gabe unfurled his spiked tail. He was daring me to guess where he might pop up. I shivered. So, you had some substitute monsters tonight, Gabe said, sharpening his claws on my bedpost. Were you scared? Then Gabe started tapping. I could tell he wanted to know if I still needed him. No other monster can scare me like you, I giggled, diving under my covers and pulling them up tight. Through the blanket, I heard Gabe's soft, comforting snorts. Ha, I knew it. We're made for each other, he growled. When my blanket started to slip off the bed, I knew Gabe was ready to eat. Now, if you could please stick out your foot, he said, I'd like to nibble your pinky. I yanked my blanket back up and scrunched my feet in so Gabe couldn't get them. No toes tonight, but you can have this. I offered, pushing a pillow off the bed. I didn't even hear it hit the floor. What do you think happened to that pillow? I think maybe Gabe did. Look, there's the feathers. Interesting. Gabe was back. The ooze was perfect. Everything was back to normal. I shivered again. I'd be asleep in no time. That's a really great story, isn't it? I need my monster. I'll also link a video on YouTube of someone reading this story for you, and you'll be able to see the pictures even better. So I'll put that there just for you to listen to as well. Okay, so I need your help, okay? We are going to use these sticky notes, and I'm going to write on them, and we are going to come up with different words that could describe monsters, okay? All right, so let's come out and get these adjectives, because an adjective describes a noun, okay? All right, so let's think about this a minute. Words that describe monsters, adjectives. You guys have any ideas? Yeah. Oh, I like furry. Let me write that up here. Furry. Okay. We'll put that right here. Because my poster says monsters are furry. What's something else a monster could be? Ooh, slimy. That is a great descriptive word. Your brain automatically just visualize that, right? Slimy. Good one. I'll put that one up here. What's another way you could describe a monster? Oh, yeah. Scary. Yeah, scary. It could be, right? Okay. I'm going to put the word scary right here. What's another word you could use to describe your monster? You could use some, yes, you could say green polka dot. You sure could. That is very descriptive. You can easily get a mental image and visualize that one, right? What else can you think of? Ooh, sneaky. That's a good one. Sneaky. I would say so. Grumbly. Yes. I think that definitely describes grumbly. I think I spelled that right. I'll have to look that up, okay? Sometimes I'm going to put a little question mark here to remind myself to check the spelling of that word, because I'm not quite sure if I spelled that right. What else could you say? Let's see, we've got furry, slimy, scary, green polka dot, sneaky, grumbly. Let's look back in our book and see what are some of the ways they describe. Let's see. Let me turn to that one page. They had some great descriptive words. When they were talking about his breath, they said it was ragged. And that he had uncut claws. So ragged breathing, that definitely paints a picture, right? So we could use ragged, going back and referring in our book, right? And what did they say? Uncut. Yeah, that lets you know if something's uncut, are they going to be short and manicured and all pretty? No, they're going to be gross and nasty and all long and jagged. And then this part of this book, when I go back to check, it says spooky. Did we get spooky up here yet? No, we did not. Let's write spooky. Okay? It's another really great adjective to describe your monster. Right? Okay, let's see if we can find another one. Y'all thinking? Let's see. Let me look when some of those monsters were coming to visit. Let's see how they described them. Let's see. Let's find. Ooh, this one was good. Oh yeah, remember this one? Remember that hand? Let's see how they described it. I'm pretty sure it had some great. Says, I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of my bed. That's when I noticed it was a bow. There was a bow on it. I thought it talked about, yes, razor sharp nails. That definitely gives you an exact idea of what those nails would look like. Razor sharp. Okay? All right. Let's review what we've put up here. Okay? So it says, monsters are spooky, furry, slimy, scary, green polka dot, uncut, sneaky, grumbly, ragged, razor sharp. There's lots of different ways you could describe monsters. That's just a very, very, very few ways that you could do that. So today, there will be an assignment for you to work on describing using the adjective words, because those are the words that describe nouns, and describing different types of monsters, like just getting a monster in your brain and how you think that monster would look and how would you describe it to somebody so then they could visualize it. Okay? I will see you back here tomorrow, and we are going to do a little bit more work with our story. I need my monster.